Going to be kind of a follow-up, and then I'll walk you through forging that first bracket. I put out a video. It was a special feature on building a tool. Make a tool, need a tool, make a tool to make a 90-degree bending jig to bend things like this. I have I think about 10 brackets I need to make for wrapping some beams. These are the narrower ones, the 4-inch ones. The wider ones are 6 inches. Just as a test, we're going to go ahead and not as a test, we're going to go ahead and try to make the first one and see if we're happy with the texture, the look. I got to put rivets in, things like that. And then I'll walk you through that today. But in that previous video where I showed making the tool, it worked, but I had reservations about it a little bit. So this is kind of still version 1, but 1.4 or something like that. So in the previous video you saw, you know, the angle that I created, the plate. I got a little spot on the bottom there to work in my little hard hole on the table. What I did differently though, a couple of things, and actually I did this before seeing your guys' suggestions, and a lot of you guys suggested some of these things. So the hinge was, I had 2 small hinges on here to begin with. They broke during the test. If you watch the video you can see that. So I went out and bought a much larger hinge, and in the end, also a lot of you guys are saying I had the handle right in the middle, and you said, well, I was on, jeez, I can't talk today. You guys said I had the handle in the middle. I was testing with some 2-inch stock. I said move the handle down. Well, this is designed for the 4 and 6-inch stuff that I was using. So in that process, and again, it was before I read your comments, I decided to put 2 handles, one at the top, one at the bottom. That allows me to, if there's any twisting or anything involved, I can do that. I also took, and on the backing plate, I put that on a hinge. So right now I can go ahead and just, when I get ready to bend something, I can set it in here hot, bring it up, clamp it, and bend it all in one move, alright? Now, the thing I don't like about the jig, but it is the way it is that what I did is I welded the bottom part of that hinge to the plate. So it's set up now for 1/8-inch stock with an 1/8-inch overhang, alright? So everything's right where I need it to be, and it won't move laterally. Alright, so I just flip it up, put a clamp on there to help hold the top in place, and then do the bend. It seems like it's going to work okay. Oddly enough, these heavy-duty hinges that I bought, I thought they were heavy-duty. Obviously weren't heavy-duty enough, so in the testing on the second version of this, I actually bent. The hinges were bending out here. So I reinforced both hinges, welding right to the collets here, whatever you call them, with a piece of 1/4 inch. And it's much more sturdy now. Hopefully I won't blow out the inside of the hinge. So that's the update on the bending jig. I really don't have a specification on the brackets. They want, I mean, I have sizes, the inside dimensions to wrap around the beam, but we want some type of hammered look. I think some riveting or something like that will be good. Full, you know, fake riveting, nothing structural. So let's just walk through it and we'll see how today's project, or at least the first one, turns out. Hopefully everything will work well for us. Alrighty. I like to get this stuff up to a nice orange heat because it allows the scale to break off. Notice I have full finger gloves on today because there's a lot of radiant heat coming off of this. Just going to work the edges a little bit and then go back through and randomly put in a couple different hammers is what I use, just to give it that hammered up look. Alright, I'm using my rounding hammer. I'll come back in with a small 2-pound hammer, flatten this out a little bit, put in some regular hammer marks like that. Couple of weak hits like that, just to give it a good hammered up look. You gotta make sure that you don't hammer one side more than the other. You'll put a slight curve into it. Just like that, alright? Ear protection is probably a good idea for this in this case, and I think that'll look good. A couple of obliques in there just to make it look beat up. I think that'll look good. Again, being the first one and being something this wide, I want it to look just right for me anyway. Alright, we'll go ahead and do the next section here. Flatten it back up. Take a look at it, make sure we're happy with how it looks. Flip around to the other side. Get this other side going. Flatten her out a little. Pretty good. Looks pretty good. Little obliques in there. One more piece. Right, let's finish this piece up. Get it flattened out. Sure we're happy with how it looks. And like that. Now we gotta get it perfectly straight. Make sure we didn't put any type of bow in it based on uneven hammering. Make sure it's relatively straight. Put that in. I think that'll do it. And there we go, the hammering part's done. Looks really, really nice. I think it does. We'll see what it looks like when it's cleaned up. The wire wheel, she looks pretty good. Looks perfectly inconsistent, perfectly random. I'm quite pleased with how it looks. There's quite a bit of different textures in there. And again, the trick for me anyway is to remember the technique. So I went with that rounded hammer and then I came back with the 2-pounder. It's a lot of hammer hits, a lot of swinging, but it just gives depth to that piece. I really like the way it's going to look. I think I'm going to like the way it's going to look. So now what I got to do is devise my plan. Now, I don't have a detailed design, but as this gets wrapped around, this one's going on a fireplace mantle. We're going to want some detail in the front. We're going to want a couple of rivets or nuts or bolts or something. So I got to think that through a little bit. This is going to be the piece that I take as a demonstration of what the final product's going to look like for customer approval. And I want it to look right. I don't want to have to come back and try something else. So let me give me some thinking here. I think it'd be best right now if I go ahead and drill the holes for the rivets. It'll be easier for me to get this in the drill press before it's bent. Put the holes in. I'll plug weld those out from the back side, and then go ahead and put our bends in. But a little thinking for a moment here. I worked out some options here. I have rivets that I've used in the past. So for the center of it, for the center of it, we go with rivets. I also have some of these old reclaimed bolts. I mean, that's a pretty nice detail there too, which would give it a little more depth, 3-dimension. And then I have the heads from those bolts that can go there. So I sent pictures off to the customer and I'm waiting to hear back what they want. But one of those 3 I think is what we're going to end up with. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So what I've done is I've pre-drilled the holes so that I can plug weld these when we decide which ones we want. On the back side, I marked out where I want my bend to be. It has to be, where am I over here? These 2 brackets, I already hammered the other one. Exactly 8 inches on the inside dimension and 7 3/4 on the outside. I'll cut those off once I have the bend so I can have my measurements set. Holes are drilled, put scores in. I'm going to fire up the propane forge. This will fit into the propane forge, the 6-inch stuff won't. And then we'll come back here and we'll see how this new bending doohickey works. So that's where we're at. Let's see how she works today compared to yesterday. We'll get her in there exactly on that score mark. Flip this baby up. A little bit of expansion, but we're okay. Get the clamp in here. Oh, come on, don't mess with it. You let it all run. There we go. And then we'll just bend her around. That looks good. That looks pretty good to me. Just put the final touches on to the hammer. Straighten it out a little bit. Ended up with right on the line. Perfect. We'll flip around to the other side. Repeat that process. Right on the line. Right on the line. This is the critical one because you can't mess it up, huh? Crooked or something's not square here, so that's that. So boom, 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 boom. That's that. That's that. Just the square thing down. I like it. I like it. Right on the friggin' line. That's awesome. Okay. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. A little rounded here. I'll clean that up on the anvil. That's where it's on the bottom, so that's kind of an interesting thing. The key, though, is we have to be exactamundally 8 on the inside, and we are exactamundally 8 on the inside once I square that corner up. Perfect. There you have it. Alrighty. Well, I'm waiting to hear back from the customer. I think we're going to go with probably one of these two finishes, but whatever it is, we're done. And we got the bending jig proved itself. Hammering's done. The pieces are cut to size, exactly the dimensions that they asked for. And that was the whole point of that original jig video, was to be able to create a really tight tolerance, which I was able to do. So I prefer this one here, but we'll see what they want in the end. Maybe they'll want the rivets. You never know. Don't know till you know. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. Again, it's a little bit of a follow-up from that jig that I did yesterday, and just a peek at, you know, another project Chandler's working on. I got 8 more of these things to make, a little more complicated. Plus, if you look over here, can you see them? Kind of move these guys out of the way. I got a bunch of turnbuckles. Ouch, it's hot still. And stuff, studs that I need to put across a couple of beams. This is a residential project. It's going to look great with the turnbuckles running across with these jam-ass studs. Kind of make it look like a barn. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you on the next one. Maybe a little more exciting. Who knows? But sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're make some money. You know. That's what it's all about. Ciao.